Again, I'd like to welcome everyone. My name's Jake, and I'll be discussing today charity, kindness of the heart. There's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we just celebrated a little while ago. He said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" When we study different spiritual paths, most of them, probably all of them, have certain principles that they abide by that helps the followers keep their feet on the path and not stray. Here at Sunburst, if you go in the lodge, you'll see our Sunburst mandala, and there's actually a booklet there you can pick up that talks about it, different parts of it. It's an ancient symbol that was found around different areas of the world, carved into stone from a civilization that lived a long time ago in harmony and peace. And part of the symbol are these 8 paths that we follow here, 8 paths of right living. And that helps us each day try to balance our lives with these 8 paths, not stress one over the other, but try to keep all 8 in balance every day. And the other part of the symbol is virtues. There's 12 virtues, and each virtue corresponds to an astrological sign. And since we're in Aquarius, the virtue for Aquarius is charity. Funny how that all tied together, right? Charity, when you think about it, it's the first thing you think of is giving money, but it's way more than giving money. It's helping the less in whatever ways we can. Living charity is a way of life that you can practice every day, living a life of selfless love. If we look around the world today and kind of take a bird's eye view of it, we're faced with so many things that are difficult to overcome as a civilization. War, dirty, racism. It's happening all over the planet, and seemingly with no end in sight, and even some areas of it are growing. And when you kind of analyze why that is, like why aren't all the people giving and more charitable? Well, the opposite of charity is greed. And when you boil down all these issues that are plaguing the planet, greed is the energy that's behind most of them. The country that wants more land, they're greedy. They want more land or more resources. The persecution of less fortunate people because they're sitting on land that has resources. The list goes on and on. But greed is what fuels the planet today. But imagine a world where greed was replaced with charity 24/7, where everyone practiced acts of love, giving smiles, expressing kind words, forgiving those that hurt us and offend us, and being more generous, sharing our food, volunteering our time. What a wonderful world it would be. so peaceful and so wonderful. Mother Teresa said, "It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving." And we're all here in California really aware of the fires that have happened recently in Los Angeles. And every day we read about acts of charity that are happening for those poor souls that have lost everything. And really a personal story is that our son, she, I think at least twice a month, maybe more, she'll go to Skid Row and talk to the people there and give them blankets and whatever she can gather together, food. She's been doing that for years since she was in high school. And I always admired that about her. She's very giving in that way. So when the fires happened, she got this idea. She's very active on social media, and she actually got her degree in public relations. So when it first happened, the first thing she thought of is, how are these people going to wash their clothes? There's no laundry facilities anymore. Everything's burned up. And everybody, the firefighters, everybody needs to have clean clothes. So on social media, she put the word out, free laundry service available. And she put out a request for volunteers around the Los Angeles area. And she got over 20 volunteers from different areas of Los Angeles that said, yes, I will wash clothes for people for free. And so she created this spreadsheet, and when people contact her needing laundry, they tell her, where they live and if they have access to a car or whatever. And she'll match them with one of these 20-odd people that are closest to them, and they get their laundry done. And it's such a simple act of charity that I'm sure people are really appreciating. And all the volunteers are so excited about helping these poor souls, and really enjoy the service that they're providing. And that's just one of the instances that are going on down there right now to help those people. It's really wonderful to see the love and the giving that's happening down there for those people. So we can practice charity as an individual, or we can practice it as an organization, a region, a state, a country, a planet. And just to touch on a few things that I wanted to bring up was, Sunburst is very affiliated with Yogananda, who came to the country in 1920 from India to teach Kriya Yoga. And the founder of Sunburst, Norm Paulson, went to live at Mount Washington, which was a fellowship. And his teachings were all about selfless service and love towards all. And he had a group of followers that lived there at Mount Washington, nuns and monks. And it grew into this worldwide organization today that's still very active. One of his quotes is, "Kindness is the light that dissolves all walls between souls, families, and nations." And that's what we've been witnessing in Los Angeles. Like, these souls are so needing help, and all the walls have dissolved between the people. They just are helping one another in a harmonious relationship, and it's really, really inspiring. So Norm lived there for about about 5 years, learned Kriya Yoga, had many wonderful experiences with Yogananda and with also through his meditations. He was very, had a real wonderful knack for visions. He was a real visionary and had wonderful visions in his meditations. And one of the things that occurred to him when he was meditating was that he didn't feel like he could take the vow of monkhood. He didn't want to be a monk. He wanted to share his love and his abilities with a group of people. And so Yogananda actually encouraged a few of the people at SRF to go out and start organizations. And he actually told Norm he would love to see a community in Santa Barbara area, because Yogananda used to spend time in Santa Barbara. He had a friend in Montecito that he would come up and stay with. So in 1969, Norm was living in Santa Barbara in a little single-wide trailer and working construction, feeling pretty lonely because he had 20-odd years of nobody to talk to about his spiritual experiences and what he had learned at Yogananda's. The energy wasn't ready yet. And there were a small group of friends who were, at that time, in the 60s, the people of that time, me included, were looking for some sort of alternative to the way things were going in the world, and wanted more out of life than just getting a job and retiring and dying, basically. And so this small group of people that lived in the Santa Barbara area, they said, we need to find somebody that can teach us how to meditate. And they found through different conversations with different people that there was this man, Norm Paulson, who lived with Yogananda that knew how to meditate. So they knocked on his door and they asked him if he would teach them. And he said, sure, come on in. And that was the humble beginnings of Sunburst. And from there, the group really congealed together in a common goal of wanting to be part of some sort of community together. And Norm was, he was a horse trader. He made these incredible deals during his life that were unthinkable sometimes. Well, I'll trade you this if you give me that. And that's a large part of how Sunburst grew over the years. Well, Norm found this old ice cream factory. Wasn't real big. It was basically a large house on Coda Street. But they used to make ice cream in it, and it was abandoned, and he talked the realtor into a super low rent and went in there with some of the other people, and they fixed it up. They put in shower, and they put in a bathroom and offices, and converted it into to the House of Aquarius, it was called, because Norm was an Aquarian, and several of the people that were organized around him at that time were Aquarians. So charity was very front and center in the group. And that was nice. They had meditations and they ate meals together, and but they wanted more. They wanted to have a piece of land where we could grow food and have more facilities available so more people could come. So Norm found this piece of property up on Gibraltar Road above Santa Barbara that was available, and he took all of his savings. He had $10,000 saved. That was it. And he took it all, plunked it down for a down payment, and we got our first piece of property. We called it Sunburst Farm. And unfortunately, the ground was shale, so topsoil had to be hauled up Gibraltar Road, and gardens had to be fabricated, and water had to be developed, and so on and so forth. But it became a real hub from which other Sunburst communities grew from. And because at that time, people were just traveling the country seeking something, and there were lots of communities happening at that time, and so we had a lot of souls coming through the doors, searching and wanting to know what was going on. And so Sunburst grew into, we had 5 natural food stores because we really wanted to offer, as part of our charitable giving, is good organic food to people at a good price. So we had these natural food stores in Santa Barbara and Ventura, and we had a bakery, we had a fresh juice factory, had a couple of restaurants, and we had 2 wholesale warehouses, one in Goleta and one in Los Angeles, where we, at that time there wasn't a big network for organic food, and so there were all these little natural food stores around the country. And so we would air freight organic food to these stores around the country. And that's where I was fitting in. I was part of the wholesale operation, would go to LA and actually live there for a while, and got this food shipped. But the amazing thing about how busy everything was and how fast we were growing, and when I came in 72, there was like 65 people, but by 75, I think there was over 300. So I mean, it really grew fast. And no matter how busy Norm was, he was always available for questions, spiritual guidance. Very giving soul. Very charitable. So here we sit today, 55 years later. We're still here, and someday we might make a movie of how we got here. It's quite a story. But we're on this beautiful piece of land, this sanctuary, and we offer these spiritual retreats, and we teach Kriya meditation. And we're still offering a path for soul travelers to experience the divine in their lives. The other interesting thing, when Norm was at Yogananda's, there was another brother there, Donald Walters, who was actually Norm's Yogananda's note taker. He would sit in meetings and talks and basically write down what Yogananda was saying. And he, unfortunately, after Yogananda died, he had some disagreements with the new leadership of SRF. And after a few agonizing years of trying to deal with it and get them to change, he left. And about the same time that Sunburst started, he started a community up in Grass Valley area called Ananda, which is still in existence. He had contacts over there, and eventually they got a center in Italy, and they're pretty widespread. But he was very charitable also, and his incredible songwriter, poet, storyteller. He was a really amazing man. And again, very giving to all those souls that came to Ananda. Today, there's a real individual that inspires me. His name's Jose Andres. He started the Worldwide Central Kitchen. Maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe longer, I'm not sure. But he's a chef, and he just, if you don't know anything about him, big guy, and he took a portable kitchen to these disaster areas around the world and fed everybody for free through donations from different organizations. So he provided meals for all these people in these disaster areas, and over the years has helped millions sustain themselves until the areas could be redeveloped. And recently, in the Middle East, when he set up a kitchen over there, some of their workers actually got killed from a bombing that happened, unfortunately. But he's very inspiring. If you ever want to look him up on YouTube, he's very inspiring. He's really got a lot of energy. And the service he's providing is really wonderful. So charity is, as you know, these examples, few that I've given, it's all about love and service. It connects us with others that we might normally not connect with. And it has the ability to bring us inner peace in our acts of charity. Because what happens is, when we're charitable and we're giving, endorphins are released within our system. And these endorphins help reduce our stress and help us be happy, which is pretty cool. So one of the things that are very important in our lives is to be able to know that our actions and our thoughts and our process of living is in harmony with the divine. And meditation is an excellent tool for achieving that. And by developing a practice of meditation every morning and every evening, we're able in the morning be able to reflect on our day that's facing us and ask for guidance, strength, endurance, whatever we ask in our meditation for that day. A balanced life, living in harmony with the earth. And then in evening meditation, we kind of reflect on our day and where did we stumble and fall, and what successes we had, and through this process, we're channeling the divine's energy within us and enabling us to live a life that's more in tune with Mother Earth and our spiritual Father. So we're going to play a little snippet audio of Norm as we move into our silent period, which will be about 15 minutes. And if you have a practice of meditation, you can do that. If you're new to it, just simply try to center your eyes, with your eyes closed out here, out in front of your brow, and pay attention to your breath, and just follow your breath as it moves in and out. And if you're experienced Kriya Bond, then you can practice Kriya. So we'll move into that right now.
So this is why I meditate, that I may feel God's will through me and the desire to help others as I live out my life and the happiness that comes from it. And this is what God wants to see for every one of us in this room, that we can go forth in our lives and create heaven on earth again with God's children in control, the light of consciousness marching in them.
Probably the greatest mystery in our life's existence is the mystery of death. It brings fear to a lot of souls because it's the unknown, and it makes people feel insecure sometimes. But luckily, over the years, Raymond Moody interviewed thousands of people around the planet that had near-death experiences where they were clinically dead for a period of time and then for some reason came back to life and told a very similar experience that happened to each one of them. In that experiences, for most of them, they would see their bodies either on the operating table or in the car wreck or whatever the situation was that caused them their heart to stop beating. But yet they were floating above it and could see the workers, the EMT workers working on them, or the doctors working on them. And they all experienced this, finding themselves in a tunnel. And at the end of the tunnel was this light, this brilliant light. And they said that this light was emanating unconditional love. And it changed them forever. So many of them, when you read about it or watch the different recordings of them telling the story, some of them were not very nice people. But yet when they went through this experience, they totally changed. They became more charitable, more giving, obviously not worried about death anymore, because they all realized that that's where they're going to go to when they leave the amazing energy source that's creating all the images in this creation and sustaining all the images. So Divine Spirit is pretty charitable in creating this incredible creation, this planet, this beautiful planet that we live on, these amazing bodies where we can actually channel the divine as we work in the soil, or channel the divine into our thoughts and our actions, our words. All the amazing plants and animals and different creatures that roam the earth. It's just so amazing to be a part of it. I'd like to end with a quote from Yogananda. The deeper the self-realization of a person, the more they influence the whole universe by their subtle spiritual vibrations.
Oh, listen to life's sweet song. Can't you hear how she longs for perfection like in days that are gone? So sweet and oh, so sad. So sweet and oh, so sad. Father, you're melting us all into one bright, shining, blazing sun. And we've all had the blues much too long, so we're all going back home to you. Oh, big wheels are turning round all around us without a sound, and they're spinning within us too. Oh, I can feel the love, can't you? Oh, I can feel the love, can't you? Father, you're melting us all into one bright, shining, blazing sun. And we've all had the blues much too long, so we're all going back home to you. I'm going home to the sea of love, yes, of love. Won't you come on along with me and ride the stars above, and ride the stars above. Father, you're melting us all into one bright, shining, blazing sun. And we've all had the blues much too long, so we're all going back home to you. Yes, we've all